Hi, my name is Chrissa. I have 4 daughters and my eldest daughter is autistic with a diagnosis of the PDA profile. My story is quite lengthy and actually contains a lot of trauma, but I want to cover it quite briefly for you today. My daughter was age 7 when we first discovered that she needed some extra support, but nobody could really see what the difficulties were that we were seeing at home. So her school failed to recognise her difficulties for many years, passing them off as something else, or perhaps a child who enjoyed to cause a bit of trouble. It wasn't until she entered her senior school years that things became particularly difficult. We went privately for a diagnosis and found out that she was autistic, something that really surprised us. And so we immersed ourselves in the world of autism to understand a little bit more. It was understanding why she was presenting in a certain way that really led us to try and help her. Obviously, we managed to get quite a lot of information. But it also meant that we started to ask for certain adjustments to be made. And we found that our requests weren't met with a very nice welcome. Actually, over a very short period of time, we were led to believe that we weren't being believed, and that our story of what was happening at home was very much a fake story. And this led to me having a wrongful accusation of Munchausen syndrome by proxy. And it was really traumatizing. It had a huge effect on the family. It made me really lose trust in my daughter. I thought she was saying something behind my back. It really fractured the relationships within our family. We didn't know who to trust. And we felt that actually we alienated ourselves as a family because that trust was broken with the outside world. We ended up having spot checks from social workers and actually ended up on a child protection plan, being accused of emotional harm. This was hugely traumatizing. Like I say, the word trauma comes out a lot when I speak about our experience, because actually this wasn't correct. Nobody sought a diagnosis of Munchausen syndrome by proxy for me. It was merely an accusation that made its way as a professional opinion into a social care assessment that was actually designed to support an EHCP application. It was found through employing Cathleen Long as our independent social worker that our knowledge of autism was outstanding, but that our local authorities' understanding of autism, particularly in girls, was not. And it was that lack of understanding that led our social work team and the rest of the professionals that were actually involved to believe that I had Munchausen syndrome by proxy. And as soon as Kathy was involved and highlighted the errors and actually highlighted the strengths of the family, that we were then able to ascertain what my daughter's needs were and fight for the right provision. Unfortunately, I felt as though my name was blacklisted amongst the professionals, and this led to further negative emotions and relationships between us and them, which was very much how it was feeling at that time. Relationships were really fractured, and it meant that it was a real hard fight to get the provision that our daughter needed. We ended up at the High Court and we won, and my daughter was awarded a 52-week waking day provision based on the needs that were highlighted from the professionals that we had commissioned. It shouldn't be this difficult, but because of the lack of understanding of autism, it led to unnecessary trauma for the entire family that 3 years later we're still trying to heal. We're all undertaking different types of therapy to heal the trauma and hurt caused by the several months, if not years, of awful accusations made in relation to Munchausen syndrome by proxy or fabricated or induced illness. Something that was never proven and something that there was never any evidence for. And so the lasting effects of this are lifelong. And that's why it's really, really important that Cathy Long was involved in our case and was able to not only assess correctly, but also empower us as parents and justify our need for getting that suitable provision. So we owe our entire family's life to Cathy Long and the work that she continues to do in this field to make sure that there are improvements made, particularly for children on the autism spectrum, and of course girls on the autism spectrum and the PDA profile.